The following video contains personal stories of Indigenous people who have experienced homelessness. Drug use, violence, foster care, residential school, and recounting traumatic experiences are discussed. Residential school survivors, their families, and Indigenous people dealing with intergenerational trauma can access mental health and crisis supports through the Indian Residential School Survivors Society at 1-800-721-0066. Others affected by this content can call 310 Mental Health at 310-6789.
When I was walking around, I'll use the term homeless now because that's what they use, but I was walking around in my own community here in Vernon, I always gravitated toward a place called Polson Park. I felt safe there. I always ended up there, whether I was too drunk or whatever, I would always end up there. And I slept a few times in a particular place over by the Rose Garden down there. I don't know if anybody knows Polson Park, but there's a Rose Garden there. And where I'd slept a few times was about 50 feet from there. And I was talking to one of my elders after I had healed up and told him about where I'd stayed, what I did. And he said, you know what, hold on. And he told me that, you know, the reason why that you were attracted to Polson Park is that my great-great-great-grandmother was born around where the Rose Garden would be. And Polson Park is actually our traditional summer campground. And to me, it was like my ancestors were calling me there to keep me safe. And that's where I had my vision that started me on my path. So that's kind of home, where all our traditions are, where all our ancestors are. And the term homeless? No, I wasn't homeless. I was home. I just didn't have a roof over my head and a place that I could call home, my house, my apartment, whatever. I was in my homeland. And it's always really struck me as that I didn't realize that maybe my ancestors were calling me to a safe area to help me to find that vision of I wanted to heal and how to do it. And it was given to me as a gift. My biggest hope for our community is educate and heal. There's too many of our people walking around angry, sad, depressed, and they just don't know why. And part of my job is to educate on intergenerational traumas and historical traumas and how to overcome them. We have too many people that we're losing that don't need to be lost. Just that little bit of education on why we are certain ways, like the intergenerational trauma, helps so tremendously help a person heal. That it's part of what I do is educate. So I guess for me, the biggest thing would be a healthy community, a happy community, a well-balanced community, because most of us communities right now don't have any of that balance, and we desperately need them if we were going to move forward in all our communities, in our nations. Especially us as the Syilx Nation, as Syilx people, we have what you call an oral history. It's our chaptik, and in these stories, you can interpret them any way you want. Our chaptik isn't a history of dates and times, but it is the meaning of who we are as a people. And we've gotten away from that. The values that these teach, that balance in life, that interconnection with the land, back to our culture, back to our language. I mean, we're not necessarily going to be able to go back and roam the way we used to be, but the way we think, the way we look at the world, the way we view things is what we're looking for to become whole again. And I think that's what I mean by a balanced community. We're healthy physically. We're back on the land. We're doing, traditional berry picking, traditional hunting, fishing, all of that. Emotionally, I mean, once you learn about the intergenerational traumas and learn what it's done to you, and some of us have built up barriers and blocks, then we can overcome them. Mentally, we need to start thinking like our chaptik tells us to think. that the interconnectedness of all things, the Tami, all living things, Timhula, the land. We need to go back to that to recapture that spirituality of the essence of who we are, that happiness, that balance, and that center. I guess if that makes sense, that's what balance means to me for my community.
We're all part of the web of interconnections, and this means that change is the responsibility of every one of us. Learn more and get involved today.